6 months later, the transformation was remarkable. The small human task force that had arrived to save the Volari had grown into a massive fleet of over 50 ships. Vessels from Earth arrived weekly, carrying the latest weapons and technology that human engineering could produce. Admiral Park stood on the bridge of his new flagship, the massive battleship Defiance, and watched as construction crews finished work on the latest batch of destroyers. Each ship was built using a combination of human military technology and alien scientific advances provided by grateful, peaceful species. Captain Su Jin, now promoted to Commodore, commanded the second squadron from her ship Retribution. She had become something of a legend among alien species after leading the boarding action that captured the Krek's flagship. Young warriors from peaceful civilizations across the galaxy requested to serve under her command. "Admiral, we are receiving 3 simultaneous distress calls," announced Daeho from the communications center. His small monitoring station had grown into a massive facility that tracked emergency signals from across the galaxy. 3? Admiral Park asked. This was the moment he had been preparing for. The hostile empires had finally decided to test humanity's commitment to protecting peaceful species. "Yes, sir," Daeho replied, his voice tense. "The first is from the Naran system, about 30 light-years from here. A species called the Vorth are attacking with a fleet of 18 ships. The second call is from the Kalani civilization, 45 light-years away. They are under attack by something called the Shadow Legion. The third is from a species I have never heard of before, the Marathi. They are being invaded by an alliance of 3 different hostile species." Admiral Park studied the tactical display showing the locations of the 3 battles. The attacks were clearly coordinated, designed to force humanity to split their forces and respond to multiple threats simultaneously. "Commodore Sujin, take Squadrons 2 and 3 to deal with the Vorth attack," he ordered. "Commodore Young-Soo, take Squadron 4 and whatever marine units you need to help the Kalani. I will lead Squadrons 1 and 5 to assist the Marathi." Young-Soo had been promoted after establishing the Galactic Marine Training Program, which now included volunteers from over 20 different species. His mixed human-alien units had proven incredibly effective in combat, combining human aggression with alien technical skills. "Understood, Admiral," Young-Soo replied. "My Marines are ready for deployment." Bo-Ra, now director of the Xenolinguistic Corps, coordinated communications between the various alien species serving in the human fleet. She had become fluent in over 30 alien languages and had developed universal translation protocols that allowed real-time communication during combat. "All fleet communications are synchronized," she reported. "Each squadron will have full translation support for their specific mission." As the 3 task forces prepared to depart, Dr. Hai Jin provided final intelligence briefings about their enemies. Her research teams had been studying every aggressive species in the galaxy, looking for weaknesses that could be exploited. "The Vorth are similar to the Kreks," she told Commodore Sujin. "They rely on heavy ships and overwhelming firepower. Your mobility advantage should be decisive. The Shadow Legion is more mysterious. They use stealth technology and hit and run. Tactics: be prepared for ambushes." "What about the Alliance attacking the Marathi?" Admiral Park asked. "That is the most dangerous situation," Dr. Hai Jin replied. 3 hostile species working together represents a new level of cooperation among aggressive civilizations. They are clearly testing our ability to respond to coordinated attacks. Ambassador Jiwoo had been working with the Galactic Trading Consortium to establish supply lines and support networks for the growing human fleet. "All 3 target systems have friendly bases where you can refuel and resupply," she reported. "The consortium has been very helpful in providing logistical support." The 3 task forces departed within hours of each other, jumping to faster-than-light speed toward their respective destinations. For the first time, humanity was fighting on 3 fronts simultaneously against alien enemies. Commodore Sujin reached the Naran system first and found the situation exactly as Dr. He Jin had predicted. 18 massive Vorth ships were bombarding the planet from orbit while the peaceful Naran defenders tried desperately to evacuate their cities. "All ships, attack formation Alpha," Sujin ordered. Let's show them what human speed can do. Her 12 ships scattered and attacked from multiple directions, using the same tactics that had worked so well against the Kreks. The Vorth, despite having more ships, found themselves unable to coordinate their fire effectively as the human vessels danced between their weapons. Meanwhile, Commodore Young-Su discovered that the Shadow Legion lived up to its reputation. His ships arrived at the Kalani system to find no visible enemies, but sensors detected movement in the asteroid field surrounding the planet. They are using the asteroids for cover, reported his tactical officer. I count at least 15 ships, but they keep moving and hiding. Then we will have to dig them out, Young-Su replied. Launch all marine assault shuttles. If they want to hide in rocks, we will board their ships and take them the hard way. Admiral Park faced the most complex situation at the Marathi homeworld. 3 different alien fleets, totaling over 40 ships, had surrounded the planet and were demanding surrender. The Marathi, despite being peaceful, had refused to give up and were fighting bravely with their small defensive fleet. Sir, the enemy has us outnumbered almost 2-1, observed Captain Tae-hyun, who now served as Admiral Park's tactical advisor. Numbers have never been everything, Admiral Park replied. Look at their formation. 3 different species, trying to work together, but they are not really coordinating. Each fleet is fighting independently. He was right. The alliance was more fragile than it appeared. Each hostile species was used to fighting alone and did not trust their partners completely. Admiral Park decided to exploit this weakness. Target the command ship of the alliance leader, he ordered. If we can break their coordination, they will start fighting each other instead of us. The battle that followed was the largest space combat in galactic history. Nearly 90 ships fought in the space around the Marathi homeworld, as humanity proved that their victory over the Kreks had not been a fluke. Back on Lithios, Daeho coordinated communications between all 3 battles while Dr. Hye-jin analyzed the tactics being used by each enemy force. The information they gathered would be valuable for future conflicts. All 3 task forces are reporting success, Daeho announced after several hours of fighting. Commodore Soo-jin has destroyed or captured the entire Vorth fleet. Commodore Young-Su has eliminated the Shadow Legion with minimal losses. Admiral Park has broken the enemy alliance and forced them to retreat. The news spread across the galaxy within days. Humanity had faced its first major test as galactic protectors and had passed with incredible success. 3 simultaneous attacks by different hostile species had been defeated, sending a clear message to every aggressive civilization in known space. But the most important message was received by the peaceful species. They now knew that someone would come to their aid when they called for help. The age of unopposed conquest was over. Admiral Park returned to Lithios to find representatives from over 50 different civilizations waiting to meet with him. Each one wanted to join the protection agreement and contribute to the growing Terran fleet. Admiral, Ambassador Ji-woo reported, we have received formal requests for protection from species across 3 entire galactic sectors. The fleet will need to expand even more to meet the demand. Then we will expand, Admiral Park replied. Earth has made a commitment to protect the innocent, and we will keep that promise no matter how large the galaxy turns out to be. As he spoke, another distress signal arrived from a distant star system. Admiral Park smiled as he watched his officers immediately begin preparing a response. The galaxy had learned what the word human meant, and peaceful species everywhere slept better, knowing that Earth's children were watching over them. The transformation was complete. Humanity had evolved from a single-world species to the guardians of galactic civilization, and this was only the beginning. The news traveled faster than anyone expected. Within days of the battle, every major civilization in the galaxy had heard about the humans who had destroyed the mighty Kreks fleet. The Valari, grateful beyond words, shared detailed recordings of the battle with their trading partners and allies. Dr. Hee-jin Kim arrived on the second wave of ships from Earth, leading a team of scientists and diplomats. As a xenobiologist, she was fascinated by the opportunity to study multiple alien species and understand how they had evolved so differently from humans. The Valari are remarkable, she told Admiral Park during her first briefing. Their medical knowledge is even more advanced than we hoped. They have shown me healing techniques that seem almost magical, but what interests me most is how different they are from us in terms of aggression and conflict resolution. She pulled up her research data on the main screen. I have been studying the communications we intercepted from various species during the battle. Almost every alien civilization we have encountered so far evolved on worlds that were much more peaceful than Earth. They never developed the same survival instincts that drive human behavior. Ambassador Jiwoo Song nodded as she reviewed the diplomatic reports. She had been working with Quindal and other Valari leaders to establish formal relations, but the conversations had revealed disturbing information about galactic politics. The Valari have told me about dozens of other species that have been attacked by aggressive civilizations like the Kreks, she reported. Apparently, this kind of conquest and genocide is common throughout the galaxy. Most species simply do not have the ability to defend themselves effectively. Admiral Park studied the star charts that showed the locations of various alien civilizations. Red markers indicated species that had been destroyed or enslaved, while yellow markers showed those currently under threat. The pattern was depressing. Peaceful species were being systematically eliminated by a handful of aggressive empires. It seems we have stumbled into a galaxy where might makes right, he observed. The strong prey on the weak, and no one has been able to stop them. Until now, Captain Sujin added. She had been monitoring communications from across the galaxy and was amazed by the reaction to humanity's victory. Sir, we are receiving messages from dozens of species asking for our help. Word has spread that Earth will fight to protect peaceful civilizations. Taehyun had been analyzing intelligence reports about the galaxy's political situation. What he had discovered was both encouraging and alarming. The defeat of the Kreks has sent shockwaves throughout the aggressive species, he reported. I have intercepted communications suggesting that several hostile empires are considering forming an alliance against us. They see humanity as a threat to their way of life. This was exactly what Admiral Park had feared. By defeating the Kreks so decisively, humanity had painted a target on itself. Every aggressive species in the galaxy now saw Earth as an enemy that needed to be destroyed before it could interfere with their conquests. How many hostile civilizations are we talking about? Admiral Park asked. At least 6 major empires, possibly more, Taehyun replied. The Kreks were actually one of the smaller aggressive species. Some of these others control hundreds of star systems. Despite the growing threat, positive developments were also occurring. Yongsu had been working with Valari volunteers who wanted to learn how to defend their world. The results were surprising and encouraging. The Valari learn quickly, he reported to Admiral Park. They may be peaceful by nature, but they are intelligent and adaptable. I have been teaching them basic combat techniques, and they are making excellent progress. The Marine commander had developed a training program he called Deathworld Tactics, combat methods specifically designed for peaceful species to use against aggressive enemies. The techniques focused on mobility, surprise, and psychological warfare rather than brute strength. The key is to teach them to think like predators instead of prey, Yongsu explained. Once they understand that concept, they become much more effective fighters. Bora had been working on an even more ambitious project. She was creating a communication network that would allow peaceful species throughout the galaxy to coordinate their defenses and share information about threats. If we can get these species talking to each other, they can warn each other about incoming attacks, she explained. Right now, each species faces threats alone. If they work together, they become much harder to defeat. The project was already showing results. 3 different species had used the network to warn each other about Krek survivors who were trying to attack their worlds. In each case, the targeted species had been able to prepare defenses or call for help in time. Dr. Hyojin's research was revealing why humans were so effective in combat compared to other species. Most alien species evolved in environments where cooperation and peaceful conflict resolution were the keys to survival, she explained. They never developed the aggressive instincts and tactical thinking that humans take for granted. She showed Admiral Park brain scans comparing human and alien neural patterns. Look at these differences in the areas responsible for threat assessment and combat response. Humans have much more developed neural pathways for dealing with violence and danger. This information was both fascinating and troubling. It suggested that humans might be uniquely suited for warfare among galactic civilizations, which brought both opportunities and responsibilities. Ambassador Jiwoo brought even more dramatic news from her diplomatic contacts. Admiral, I have been approached by representatives from the Galactic Trading Consortium. They want to offer humanity a formal position as protectors of the peaceful species. The offer was unprecedented. The consortium was an alliance of dozens of peaceful civilizations that focused on trade and cultural exchange. They had never had any military capabilities, relying instead on their economic value to protect them from aggressive species. They are offering to fund the construction of a fleet specifically designed to protect peaceful worlds, Jiwoo continued. In exchange, they want Earth to commit to defending any consortium member that comes under attack. Admiral Park realized that this decision would determine humanity's role in the galaxy for generations to come. Earth could become the galaxy's police force, but that would also make them a target for every aggressive species in known space. What are the other major powers saying about this? He asked. Taehyun consulted his intelligence reports. The reaction is mixed. Some peaceful species are excited about the possibility of having protection, but the aggressive empires see this as a direct threat to their expansion plans. Several have already begun mobilizing their fleets. The situation was escalating quickly. Humanity had wanted to save one peaceful species, but that act had thrust them into the center of a galactic conflict that had been building for centuries. Sir, we are receiving a priority message from Earth Command, Daeho announced. Admiral Park accepted the transmission and read the orders with growing amazement. Earth's government had made their decision about humanity's role in the galaxy. The message was simple but historic. Approved to expand mission. You are authorized to accept the consortium's offer and begin construction of the Terran Protection Fleet. Earth will not stand by while peaceful species are destroyed. Do whatever is necessary to protect the innocent. Admiral Park looked around at his officers, seeing the same mixture of excitement and apprehension in their faces that he felt himself. Humanity was about to become something it had never been before, the guardians of galactic peace. Well, he said finally, I guess we have our answer. Let's build a fleet. The first Krex attack was exactly what Taehyun had predicted. 12 massive ships formed a line and charged straight at the human fleet, firing their main weapons in a continuous barrage. The alien commanders expected the smaller human vessels to retreat or be destroyed quickly. They were wrong. Captain Soo-jin watched the incoming fire on her tactical display and smiled coldly. All ships, execute maneuver Delta 7. The 5 human vessels suddenly scattered in different directions, moving in complex patterns that confused the Krex targeting systems. The alien weapons, designed for long-range bombardment of stationary targets, missed completely as the human ships danced between the energy beams. Return fire all weapons, Admiral Park ordered. The human ships had been built for a different kind of warfare. Their weapons were smaller but more accurate, designed for precision strikes rather than overwhelming firepower. As the Krex ships passed by, the human vessels concentrated their fire on specific points: engine systems, weapon mounts, and command sections. The lead Krex ship shuddered as human weapons tore into its armor. Explosions rippled along its hull as critical systems failed. Within minutes, the massive vessel was drifting helplessly, its engines destroyed and half its weapons offline. Impossible! Commander Vostar roared from his flagship. How can such small ships cause so much damage? The answer was simple. The humans fought with a precision and aggression that the Krex had never encountered. While the alien ships tried to turn around for another attack, the human vessels were already moving to new positions, striking from unexpected angles. Captain Soo-jin brought the Indomitable in close to a Krex battleship, so close that the alien weapons could not track her movements. Her ship's guns hammered the enemy vessel at point-blank range, carving through armor that had seemed impenetrable moments before. Sir, the Krex are trying to surround us, Taehyun reported as he tracked enemy movements. Let them try, Admiral, Park replied. All ships implement boarding protocol. This was the moment Young-soo had been waiting for. The Marine commander watched as the Indomitable moved alongside a damaged Krex cruiser. "Cutting charges ready," he announced to his troops. "Remember, we go in fast and hard. These aliens have never faced anything like us." The human boarding pod slammed into the Krex ship's hull and burned through the armor with specialized cutting tools. Within seconds, Yongsu and his Marines were inside the alien vessel, moving through corridors that had been designed for much larger creatures. Tate, Krex crew was completely unprepared for this kind of attack. They had weapons suitable for ship-to-ship combat, but nothing designed for fighting inside their own vessels. The human Marines, equipped with assault rifles and body armor, moved through the ship like a force of nature. "Krex resistance is minimal," Yongsu reported over his radio. "They do not know how to fight inside confined spaces. We are heading for their engine room." The scene was repeated across the battlefield as human boarding parties attacked 3 different Krex ships simultaneously. The alien crews, trained only for long-range combat, found themselves helpless against enemies who could fight effectively in any environment. Back on the Indomitable, Daeho was monitoring Krex communications and providing real-time intelligence to the fleet. "Sir, the enemy is starting to panic. Their commanders are arguing with each other about how to respond." Bora had managed to break into the Krex command frequency and was broadcasting footage of the human Marines devastating alien defenders. The psychological impact was immediate and devastating. Krex crews throughout the fleet could see their supposedly invincible warriors being overwhelmed by smaller, faster human soldiers. "Their morale is breaking," she reported. "I am hearing reports of Krex crews abandoning their posts." Admiral Park seized the opportunity. "All ships, press the attack. Do not give them time to recover." The human fleet moved with perfect coordination, each ship supporting the others in a complex dance of destruction. The Krex, who had expected an easy victory, found themselves outmaneuvered and outfought at every turn. Captain Su-jin brought her ship around for another attack run, this time targeting the Krex flagship where Commander Vostar was trying to rally his forces. The Indomitable's weapon struck the massive vessel's command section, sending shockwaves through the alien ship. "Direct hit on their bridge," Taehyun announced. "I am reading massive system failures across their command ship." Meanwhile, Yongsu and his Marines had reached the engine room of their target ship. The Krex engineers they found there were no better at combat than the rest of the crew. Within minutes, the Marines had taken control of the entire propulsion system. "Engine room secured," Yongsu reported. "We now control this vessel's movement and power systems." Similar reports came in from the other boarding parties. In less than an hour, the humans had captured 3 Krex ships and severely damaged 6 others. The alien fleet, which had seemed overwhelmingly powerful at the start of the battle, was falling apart. Commander Vostar, wounded and desperate, made one final attempt to salvage the situation. He ordered his remaining ships to ram the human vessels, hoping to destroy them even at the cost of his own fleet. But Admiral Park had anticipated this move. "All ships, evasive maneuvers. Do not let them close with us." The human ships scattered again, using their superior speed and maneuverability to stay out of reach of the charging Krex vessels. As the alien ships struggled to change course, the humans struck them from behind, targeting their engines and steering systems. One by one, the Krex ships were disabled or destroyed. Those that were not captured drifted helplessly in space, their crews either dead or surrendering. In less than 3 hours, the mighty Krex fleet had been reduced to wreckage. The battle ended when Commander Vostar's flagship finally lost power completely. The massive vessel, which had terrorized peaceful species across the galaxy, now floated dark and silent among the debris of its fleet. "All enemy ships neutralized," Captain Su-jin reported. "We have achieved complete victory." From the planet below, Quindal and the other Valari watched in amazement as the human fleet completed its impossible victory. The aliens who had seemed doomed to extinction just hours before were now free, saved by warriors from a distant world. How did you defeat them so easily?" Quindal asked over the communication channel. "The Krex have destroyed 12 other civilizations. No one has ever stopped them before." Admiral Park considered the question carefully before responding. The Kreks are used to fighting species like yours, peaceful beings who have never known war. But humans come from a different kind of world. We have been fighting each other for thousands of years. We learned to survive in ways that peaceful species never had to. The implications of his words were staggering. If humanity could defeat the Kreks this decisively, what did that say about human capabilities compared to other galactic civilizations? We owe you a debt that can never be repaid, Quindel said, his voice filled with emotion. You risked everything to save strangers you had never met. That is what civilized beings do, Admiral Park replied. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. As news of the battle spread across the galaxy through alien communication networks, every species that heard the story had the same reaction: shock, amazement, and a sudden desire to learn more about these incredible warriors called humans. The galaxy was about to change forever. 6 weeks later, Task Force Aegis dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Lithio system. What they found was worse than anyone had expected. Captain Sujin stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, staring at the tactical display, in disbelief. Massive alien warships surrounded the blue-green planet where the Valari lived. Explosions lit up the planet's surface as the attackers bombarded cities and military installations. Sensor report, she ordered. Lieutenant Commander Tae-Hyun Lim, the fleet's intelligence officer, worked quickly at his station. I count 24 Kreks vessels, Admiral. Most appear to be heavy cruisers and battleships. They are maintaining a complete blockade of the planet. Admiral Park studied the enemy formation carefully. The Kreks ships were large and heavily armed, but their positioning seemed random and disorganized. What about the Valari defenses? Minimal, sir, Tae-Hyun replied. I see a few converted civilian ships trying to fight back, but they are barely armed. The Kreks are destroying them easily. As they watched, another Valari ship exploded under concentrated fire from 3 Kreks vessels. The alien attackers showed no mercy, firing even at obviously civilian targets. Sir, we are receiving a transmission, announced Daeho from the communication station. It is in the Valari language. Put it through, Captain Sujin ordered. Bo-Ra quickly translated the desperate message. They are asking who we are and begging us not to attack them. They think we are more Kreks ships. Open a channel, Admiral Park said. Let's make history. Bo-Ra activated the communication system and spoke in carefully practiced Valari. This is Admiral Woo-Jin Park of the Earth Defense Fleet. We received your message asking for help. We are here to assist you. The response came immediately, filled with shock and hope. You came? You actually came to help us? We are Quindel. I sent the message. I never thought anyone would answer. Captain Sujin felt a strange mixture of emotions as she listened to the first conversation between humans and aliens. The Valari scientists sounded so grateful and surprised that anyone would risk their lives for strangers. Can you tell us about the tactical situation? Admiral Park asked through Bo-Ra's translation. The Kreks have been attacking for 8 days, Quindel replied. They destroyed our orbital stations first, then began bombing our cities. They have demanded our complete surrender, but we know they will kill us all anyway. They always do, Tae-Hyun continued his analysis of the enemy fleet. Each Krek ship was larger than any human vessel, with thick armor and massive weapons. But as he studied their movements, he began to notice patterns. Admiral, the Kreks seem to rely on brute force tactics, he reported. They group their ships together and attack in straight lines. No complex maneuvers, no tactical formations. It is like they have never faced serious opposition. Yong-Soo Han, commander of the fleet's marine forces, was studying the Kreks' ship designs through the ship's sensors. Their vessels appear to be built for long-range bombardment, he observed. I see very few defensive positions for close combat. They probably do not expect anyone to board their ships. This was valuable intelligence. Human naval tactics had developed through centuries of warfare, including extensive experience with boarding actions and close-quarters ship combat. If the Kreks had never faced such tactics, it could give the humans a significant advantage. Incoming. Transmission from the Kreks fleet, Daeho announced. Let's hear what they have to say, Admiral Park said. The Krek's message was transmitted in their own language, but Bora had learned enough to provide a basic translation. The voice was deep and threatening, clearly used to being obeyed without question. Unknown vessels, you have entered Krek's territory. I am Fleet Commander Vostar. You will leave immediately or be destroyed. Do not interfere with our conquest of this world. Admiral Park considered his response carefully. This was a crucial moment that would determine everything that followed. He could try to negotiate, or he could make it clear that humanity would not be intimidated. Tell Commander Vostar that this system is now under the protection of Earth, he said finally. We demand that all Krek's forces withdraw immediately. Bora translated the message, though she struggled with some of the concepts. The idea of one species protecting another seemed foreign to both the Kreks and Valari languages. The response from Vostar came quickly, filled with anger and disbelief. Impossible. No species has ever dared challenge the Krek's empire. You will be made an example for all the galaxy to see. Tae-hyun watched as the Krek ships began to change formation. They are moving to attack positions, Admiral. It looks like they are planning to hit us with everything they have. Captain Soo-jin felt her pulse quicken as she prepared for humanity's first space battle against aliens. Her crew had trained for this moment their entire careers, but no amount of simulation could prepare them for the reality. All ships, battle stations, Admiral Park ordered. This is what we came here to do. Let's show the galaxy what humans are capable of. The 5 human ships moved into their own formation, much smaller than the Krek's fleet but perfectly coordinated. Each vessel knew exactly what the others would do, the result of years of training together. Sir, we are receiving another message from the Valari, Daeho reported. They are asking if we really intend to fight the Kreks to protect them. Admiral Park smiled grimly. Tell them that Earth keeps its promises. We said we would help, and we will. Quintel's response was emotional even through the translation. No species has ever fought for us before. We will remember this forever, regardless of what happens. Commander Yong-soo made final preparations for his Marines. If the battle went, well, they might have the opportunity to board Krek's vessels and capture them. His troops were equipped with the best weapons and armor Earth could provide. Remember, he told his Marines over the communication system, we are not just fighting for Earth today. We are fighting for every peaceful species in the galaxy that cannot defend itself. The Krek's fleet completed its attack formation and began moving toward the human ships. 24 massive vessels against 5 smaller ones. By any reasonable calculation, the humans were doomed, but Admiral Park had not come this far to retreat. All weapons powered and ready, Captain Soo-jin reported. Then let's begin, Admiral Park said. For Earth and the Valari. The space around Lithios erupted in weapons fire as 2 alien civilizations met in battle. But one of those civilizations had learned to fight on one of the most dangerous worlds in the galaxy. The Kreks were about to discover what that meant. The great meeting hall in Geneva was packed with representatives from every nation on Earth. For 3 days, they had been arguing about what to do with the alien message. The debate grew more heated with each passing hour. We cannot risk human lives for creatures we have never met, declared the representative from the European Federation. We have no idea if this message is real or if it is some kind of trap. But if it is real and we do nothing, we will be responsible for the death of an entire species, argued the delegate from the African Union. How can we live with ourselves? Admiral Woo-jin Park sat quietly in the back of the room, listening to the endless arguments. As commander of Earth's newest and most advanced space fleet, his opinion would carry significant weight in the final decision. He had spent the last 40 years building Earth's space defenses, preparing for threats that might come from the stars. Now, the first aliens they had discovered were victims, not attackers. Finally, the Secretary General called on him to speak. Woo-jin stood slowly and walked to the front of the room. The hall fell silent as everyone waited to hear what the military leader would say. I have spent my entire career preparing for the possibility of alien contact, he began, his voice calm and steady. I always assumed that contact would come in the form of an invasion, with alien ships attacking Earth. I never imagined that the first aliens we met would be asking for our help." He paused and looked around the room at the faces of the world's leaders. "But this changes nothing about what we must do. If we want to be respected in this galaxy, if we want to be seen as a civilization worth knowing, we must prove that we protect the innocent. We must show that Earth stands against those who prey on the weak." Captain Sujin Choi, commander of the flagship Indomitable, nodded in agreement from her seat near the front. She had served under Admiral Park for 15 years and trusted his judgment completely. Her ship was the most powerful vessel in Earth's fleet, equipped with the latest weapons and armor. "Admiral Park is right," she said, when called upon to speak. "Earth's military was built through centuries of war and conflict. We have fighting experience that most peaceful species probably lack. That gives us an advantage, but also a responsibility." Dr. Min Ho-an, Earth's top military strategist, was asked to analyze the situation from a tactical perspective. He had studied the Volari message carefully and examined what little information they had about the Krex Empire. "From what we can determine, the Krex rely on overwhelming force rather than sophisticated tactics," he reported. "They attack peaceful species who have no real military capabilities. They have probably never faced opponents who fight back effectively." He pulled up a holographic display showing the star charts. "The Volari system is 42 light-years from Earth. With our newest ships, we could reach them in approximately 6 weeks using maximum engine power. However, we would arrive with limited fuel and supplies." "What about the Volari's offer of medical technology?" asked the Secretary General. Dr. An smiled slightly. "That could be the most important part of this entire situation. Based on their message, the Volari have medical knowledge far beyond our own. They claim to be able to cure diseases and heal injuries that we consider fatal. If even half of what they say is true, this technology could save millions of human lives in the coming decades." The debate continued for hours, but gradually opinion began to shift toward intervention. The combination of moral obligation and potential benefits was difficult to ignore. Representatives who had initially opposed action began to change their positions. The turning point came when Dae-ho and Bo-ra were asked to present their analysis of the alien message. They had continued working on the translation and had discovered new details about both the Volari and the Krex. "The Volari have been broadcasting for weeks now," Bo-ra explained. "Each message includes updates about their situation. The Krex have already destroyed their orbital defenses and begun landing troops on the planet. The Volari estimate they have less than 2 weeks before their species is extinct. We have also intercepted some Krex communications," Dae-ho added. "Their language is simpler and more direct than the Volari's. From what we can understand, they see this as a routine operation. They have done this many times before." The Secretary General called for a final vote. The resolution was simple. Earth would send a small fleet to investigate the situation and, if possible, provide assistance to the Volari. The vote was close, but the resolution passed. Admiral Park was authorized to take 5 ships and proceed to the Lithio system with all possible speed. After the vote, Admiral Park met with his senior officers to plan the mission. Captain Sujin would command the flagship Indomitable, while 4 other captains would lead the destroyer escorts. The fleet would carry a full complement of Marines, scientists, and diplomats. "We are not going there to start a war," Admiral Park told his officers. "Our mission is to protect the Volari if possible, and to make first contact with both alien species. But if the Krex attack us, we will defend ourselves with everything we have." Captain Sujin studied the tactical information they had about the Krex. From their communications, it sounds like they have at least 20 ships in the Volari system. "We will be outnumbered 4 to 1. "Numbers are not everything," replied Admiral Park. "Our ships are built to survive in Earth's harsh space environment. Our weapons are designed for ship-to-ship combat. Most importantly, our crews have trained for battle their entire careers. The Krex may have more ships, but I doubt they have better warriors." Dr. Minho was tasked with developing battle plans for various scenarios. He spent long hours studying what they knew about Krex tactics and technology, looking for weaknesses they could exploit. Meanwhile, Dae-ho and Bo-ra prepared communication, equipment that could handle both Volari and Krex languages. They would be essential for any diplomatic contact or tactical coordination. The preparations took 2 weeks. Earth's shipyards worked around the clock to outfit the 5 ships with extra weapons, armor, and supplies. The best crews from the entire fleet volunteered for the mission. On the day of departure, crowds gathered at the spaceport to see the fleet off. For the first time in human history, Earth's warriors were leaving to fight for someone else's freedom. Admiral Park stood on the bridge of the Indomitable as the engines powered up. Through the view screen, he could see the other 4 ships of his fleet taking formation. Each vessel represented the best of human technology and determination. "All ships report ready for departure," Captain Sujin announced. "Take us out." "Admiral," Park ordered. "Maximum speed to Lithios. Let's go save some aliens." The 5 ships of Task Force Aegis accelerated away from Earth, carrying humanity's hopes and fears into the unknown. Behind them, the world held its breath and waited for news from the stars. The blue light from the computer screens filled the quiet room. Dae-ho Kim rubbed his tired eyes and looked at the clock on the wall. It was 3 in the morning, and he had been working for 12 hours straight. As a communications officer for Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Station, he spent most nights listening to empty space, hoping to catch something interesting. Tonight was different. A strange signal had been coming through the receivers for the past week. It was not like anything they had seen before. The pattern was too complex to be natural, but too organized to be random noise. Dae-ho was sure it was artificial, which meant someone was trying to communicate. "Still working on that mystery signal?" asked Bo-Ra Lee as she walked into the control room. She carried 2 cups of coffee and handed one to Dae-ho. Bo-Ra was the station's best language expert. If anyone could figure out what the signal meant, it would be her. "Yes, and I think we are close to something big," Dae-ho said, taking the coffee gratefully. "Look at this pattern here. It repeats every 4 minutes, but each time it changes, slightly. That is not random." Bo-Ra sat down at her workstation and pulled up the signal data on her screen. She had been studying alien communication theories for years, even though no one had ever found proof of alien life. Her job was to be ready, just in case. "You are right," she said after studying the patterns. "This looks like language structure. See how these parts connect to each other? And here this might be numbers or measurements. Far across the galaxy, on a world covered in deep blue oceans, a creature named Quindal worked desperately in his underwater laboratory. His species, the Volari, looked like large jellyfish with delicate tentacles that could manipulate tools with amazing skill. They were peaceful beings who had never known war until the Krex Empire found their world. The Krex were different from the Volari in every way. They were large, aggressive creatures with thick armor-like skin and powerful weapons. They traveled from planet to planet, taking whatever they wanted and destroying anyone who tried to stop them. They had already wiped out 12 other peaceful civilizations. Quindal's tentacles moved quickly over his communication equipment. He was sending the same message over and over, broadcasting it in every direction he could. The message was simple but desperate. "We are the Volari. We are peaceful. We need help. The Krex will destroy us in days. Please, if anyone can hear this, help us." He included information about his people, their culture, and their advanced medical technology. The Volari had learned to heal almost any injury and cure most diseases. He hoped this knowledge would be valuable enough for someone to help them. Back on Earth, Dae-ho and Bo-Ra worked through the night. They fed the signal into their most powerful computers and tried every decoding method they knew. By morning, they had made their first breakthrough. "It is definitely a language," Bo-Ra said excitedly. "And look at this part here. These symbols keep appearing together. I think they might mean help or danger." More people arrived at the station as word spread about the discovery. Dr. Chen Rodriguez, the station commander, came to see what they had found. Military advisors and scientists filled the small control room. "Are you saying this is alien communication?" Dr. Rodriguez asked, staring at the data on the screens. "We think so," Dae-ho replied. "The signal is coming from outside our solar system, about 40 light-years away. No human technology could send something this far." For the next 3 weeks, Bo-Ra worked day and night to decode the message. She used every tool available and created new methods when the old ones failed. Slowly, piece by piece, the alien words began to make sense. The breakthrough came on a Tuesday evening. Bora had been staring at the same section of the message for hours when suddenly everything clicked into place. The symbols were not just words, they were concepts that painted pictures in her mind. "Deho, come here quickly," she called out. Her voice was shaking with excitement and fear. Deho rushed to her station and looked at her translation on the screen. What he read made his blood run cold. "My name is Quindal. I am a scientist of the Valari people. Our world is called Lithios. We are a peaceful species who have never harmed anyone. But now we face total destruction. The Krex Empire has come to our system. They are a cruel species who destroys entire civilizations for their resources. They have already killed billions of beings on other worlds." The message continued with details about the Valari's situation. They had no weapons, no military, and no way to defend themselves. The Krex had given them 7 days to surrender before they would destroy every living thing on the planet. "We do not expect anyone to help us," the message went on. "We know we are just one small species in a vast galaxy. But if there is anyone out there who believes in protecting the innocent, please consider our plea. We offer our medical knowledge freely. We have learned to cure diseases and heal injuries that would kill other species. This knowledge could help many beings live better lives." The message ended with the coordinates of their star system and a promise to keep broadcasting until the end. Bora and Deho stared at the translation in silence. They had just made first contact with an alien species, but that species was about to be wiped out by another alien race. The implications were staggering. "We have to tell everyone," Deho said finally. "The government, the military, everyone needs to know about this." "But what can we do?" Bora asked. "They are 40 light years away. Even our fastest ships would take years to reach them." "Maybe we cannot save them," Deho replied. "But we have to try something. If there are peaceful aliens being murdered by aggressive ones and we do nothing, what does that say about us?" Dr. Rodriguez called an emergency meeting with Earth's Defense Council. Within hours, the alien message was being discussed at the highest levels of government. Some officials wanted to ignore it, arguing that Earth should not get involved in alien conflicts. Others worried it might be a trap designed to lure Earth ships into an ambush. But as news of the discovery spread, public opinion began to shift. Humans around the world watched the decoded message and felt sympathy for the doomed Valari. Protests began demanding that Earth send help. The decision would change everything for humanity and the galaxy.